Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Market Check. Excuse me, brought to you by BB. Guys, what a crazy 72 hours it has been. What an absolute crazy few sessions it's been. I think that we saw something on Friday that for those of us that survived it will probably remember forever, okay? Um, okay, we're good on pump there. That was one of the craziest washouts that I have ever seen and probably will ever see. Um, I think I want to get into it in more detail. I do. I am making a 10-minute max video later today, so I may just sort of I may save my tinfoil hat theories for that. But I do think that there was a lot of malpractice and probably crime that was organized to cause something like that to happen that I really don't even think should have been possible. And I will back up those statements later because it just really does not add up to me at all. That shouldn't have been able to happen. But nonetheless, if you survived that, you're doing better than like 95% of market participants, because even if you had 1.5x leverage, 2x leverage, trading tether collateralized, futures products, whatever it may be, you got taken to the cleaners. You got completely rinsed out. I mean, certain altcoins washed out 85 to 99.9% even. I think Atom literally went to zero for like a split second. So it was one of the most predatory, horrific events that we've ever seen. And if you survived it, congratulations, because a lot of people literally did not. And I'm not even like just to be clear, like when I say that, like there were some people that literally took their own lives after what happened, which by the way, if you're thinking about doing that, never do that. Okay. There is always a way out of it. There is always a way out of it. Do not ever think about doing anything like that. Okay. But that aside, like getting back to talking about surviving it in a more market centered way, um, if you are holding spot, this really did not affect you. You experienced some drawdown, but it did not affect you, right? Um, there's a lesson to be learned there, right? There's a lesson to be learned. One, in utilizing stop losses, but two, being heavy spot versus tether collateralized perps, right? That's not a portfolio. You know, your portfolio shouldn't be I'm 100% tether and all of my exposure is based on like paper contracts. That's not a portfolio. And we were talking to our Discord this weekend, some people were expressing obvious frustration with just like the market and how could that happen, right? Um, and the truth is, like, if you're just heavy spot, you survived it. Like, these washouts happen in crypto. I don't think it should have been able to even be possible to the magnitude that we saw, and I will get into that later. Um, but if you were spot, like, it was about 15 minutes of, like, shock and pain, and then things basically recovered. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to see what comes next after an event like that, you know? I will say there's really a couple things to really keep an eye on here. One, we have some pretty outrageous wicks across the board. And sometimes, not all the time, those wicks will get backfilled to a degree. Okay. Doesn't mean it has to happen, but it's something to keep an eye out for. And where I personally believe that we are within this quote unquote cycle, meaning we still have runway, not to spoil all of my thoughts and feelings right away. I still think we have plenty of runway, even going into, end of Q1, Q2 of 2026. Um, this kind of volatility and washout, specifically with altcoins, typically precedes a major buyback and a major reversal because of the pure reflexivity of the market. If things overcorrect too much to the downside, you get that pendulum effect back to the opposing side, right? It's like a snapback. Okay. So I think this is either going to be one of two things. Like, this is the beginning of like a really shitty Q4. And we're going to know soon, probably by the end of this week. Um, or this is going to be that washout that was necessary to fuel higher prices, meaning there's not an ounce of long leverage left in this system. So it's going to be added back. and price has, recovered most of the dump right across the board. So think of it as gathering fuel, right? I still will argue that the manner in which we did dump was highly predatory. It was not an accident. And there are people that should have to testify in front of Congress for what happened, but because it's crypto, that won't happen. That shouldn't have been able to happen. And I will show you proof of why I think that is later, whether it's going to be on this show or the video I dropped this afternoon. But either way, it's going to be really interesting to see how things unfold here. But I will leave it at this before I pass it. The most important thing here is that Bitcoin and ETH maintain their structure over everything, because just as quick as your altcoins dump, they can spring back to new highs in a matter of hours. That's just altcoins in general, right? The thing that really matters is Bitcoin and ETH, their structural integrity. And as far as I can tell, Bitcoin structurally, crazy washout, took out the Q4 open and then some. Crazy leverage wipe, right? I mean, from high to low here, it was, let's see here. From high to low here, it was, 20% in 4 days. That's pretty crazy, right? Even for Bitcoin. But, you look at ETH here and I say, well, ETH looks structurally intact as well. Took out the Q4 open, dipped into weekly demand, stuck at the Q4 open now. But I think we're going to know much more this week, right? This is an environment where honestly, I think it will pay to just kind of watch for right now, just like observe what's going on, observe any buybacks or little micro flushes that we have. I think it's going to be very revealing, right? Stay off the leverage, expect some whipsaws. You should almost be treating this environment after what just happened, kind of similarly to like post FOMC, where you got like a Darth Maul candle and you're like, let's let the dust settle before I really sink my feet in on a direction, because you need to give the scam some time to work its way through the plumbing of crypto. All right. And the scam just took its proverbial shit. All right. You need to let that shit work its way through the pipes. Okay. So we're getting close, right? Nice buyback so far. ETH's structure is still salvageable, and so is Bitcoin's, without question. And if they manage to salvage what just happened, then your altcoins will recover very, very nice. But there, without question, in my view, was an incredible amount of crime committed by a certain organization and individual who I'm still debating whether I really want to get into it, right? I don't know if there's any value in doing that. Sorry to hear that. But anyways, guys, enough for me. There's so much to dissect right now. First of all, guys, congratulations on surviving the worst altcoin flush that we've, notionally ever seen in crypto. I would say it was completely unorganic and manipulated, and major crime was committed. But nonetheless, guys, congrats on surviving it. Tommy, Louis, Chef, talk to me, boys. What are we seeing out there? I mean, is this the beginning of the end, or is this the volatility necessary to finally wake this market up from its sleepy ranges?
Well, one thing certain, Tommy went on a vacation, came back, and suddenly we got a minus 75% nuke. Coincidence? I think not.
No, that's not. So, okay, before we get too deep into the show, Tommy, you're gonna have to go. Just pack a duffel and head to the airport right now. You get just go anywhere. I don't care. Just go to Nebraska. I don't care. I mean, just pick a state. You have to leave. You have to go back on a trip. And I wish it wasn't so. I wish it didn't have to be that way, but the timing is too suspicious.
I'll figure out the rest.
What'd you say?
Buy me the ticket. I'll figure out the rest.
That's fine. I mean, it's going to be row 46 pressed up against the bathroom, but I will buy it. I would put you in first class, but I don't have any money left after what just happened. So you understand. You understand. But guys, how are you feeling about the market? Like it's choppy, bit of a buyback. What do we think about this week? I mean, stocks are looking really good right now, green across the board. How are you guys seeing things? Because this is a really difficult situation to interpret.
Well, you said we had the biggest notional drop. This was also the biggest percentage drop that we ever had in crypto. The biggest one. Happened very quickly, but it was the biggest one.
It was. Yeah.
Classic case of liquidity squeeze, right? It's pretty clear that some market makers got absolutely carted out on some altcoins. I think for me, it's too soon to be able to say definitively, like, yeah, the bottom's in, or like, yeah, we're just going to rip from here. We had some serious, I mean, you mentioned the plumbing, right, Max? I mean, we kind of cleaned out the plumbing, but to some extent, like, we don't know what just happened. Whenever you eliminate that much open interest and that much liquidity within crypto, I think we need time to let the dust settle a little bit, to be honest. I see similarities on ETH to the way that Bitcoin looked after last August, but truthfully, I don't really find the two events to be super comparable. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just for me kind of wait and see. We just had we did have the largest open interest wipeout, which I mentioned on my X account while I was on vacation, could be possible if Bitcoin were to. I thought it would trade a little bit lower to cause that, but like, I mean, hey, I will not sit up here and pretend like I expected some altcoins to wick as deeply as they did, but I also don't think that something like this happening was really completely out of the realm of possibility, right? I mean, altcoin open interest has been basically at cyclical and all-time highs for the last few weeks. I know we've been kind of prospecting, are we going to clean that up at all? Or, I just think there's so much we don't know about what happened on Friday that I think it's very difficult to form too strong of an opinion about, what's going to happen next.
I agree. Like, we cannot make any certain statements, but I think it would be futile to say that this was like a organic move, or like, it's just normal that happens once in a while. You do not get minus 75% drops in the whole asset class, with the exemption, of course, with ETH and Bitcoin, but everything else done pretty much on average minus 75%, even like top coins. That's that cannot happen, not within span of 1 hour. Like, if it was a wild bear market, dragged over a year, sure, it's a bear market, but you can't get a liquidation of minus 75%, where they just empty the order books and just let the cascades going on. It's just someone, and obviously we saw, that there's been some insider with a big short 30 minutes ahead of the news. So while I do agree we cannot make any statements and point a finger, we can only have assumptions. I feel we can clearly say that, and obviously it's, not to like ignore that there's been obviously some probably over leveraged people too, right? But like that played a part too, but obviously someone played this to a full extent, and probably crime was committed.
Lots of crime.
Well, I do not find it to be a coincidence that BNB has been dramatically outperforming the past 30 days, and Aster launches and is, doing all this volume, quote unquote, and then all these meme coins are happening. And then, 3 days after the biggest washout crime we've ever seen, Binance is airdropping 8 figures of BNB to, meme coin traders. I don't find any of that to be a coincidence. I think something is incredibly suspicious about the timing of all that. Isolated rallies.
This guy, there is some hater here saying BB boy strike. Actually, it's quite the opposite.
You wish.
But yeah, keep rolling, man.
we're alive. We're alive and thriving. Actually,
I mean, I had shorts rolling. Like, I don't know what to tell you. We're all spot and had shorts rolling, but no, I mean, yeah, spot portfolios are not looking as good as they were last week, but I mean, wouldn't say that's wrecked. I'd say that's just investing in crypto, right?
If you held majority high caps with some riskier stuff on there, majority spot, like, you're not even down that bad after yesterday's bounce back. Is what it is. Portfolio management 101. I feel like I need to do a video on that, because leverage is not portfolios. You know, having a levered account running with 75 or 100% of your portfolio is not safe, even if it's like 1.5, 2x leverage. Like it's just not. Leverage is a tool. It's not your portfolio. You know, a lot of people got wiped. It's sad. A lot of people got wiped out.
You know what did surprise me though, Louis, was like how many people got hit so hard. Pretty clear that a lot of public personas are much more levered than they are letting on or were letting on, and just got completely even people that I thought didn't even trade perps ended up losing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of my buddies lost a shit ton of money, and I'm like, I thought you were just a spot, Chad.
Yeah. And to add to that, I think there's a lot of people that got hurt a lot worse when they're letting on at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No, I completely
their ego and their whole persona attached to their name and their X account, whatever. You know, a lot of people just come out and say it, right? I feel like a lot of those were engagement farming anyways, right? Just like fake P&Ls, like I lost everything, but like a lot of it's true. I know people that had got pretty much 90% wiped, you know, with size. But I also think there's a lot of people that got wiped that aren't going to admit it, you know? But yeah, I mean,
if you quiet in the group chat, man, I just know because I've done this in the past, right? Like you lose on a liquidation event, you just go quiet in the group chat, and then you know, you just know they're revenge trading the entire weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like I just know that was probably occurring. I think it played a big role in our Sunday squeeze. But yeah, no, that's what I'll say. I was surprised at how many people who I thought were, you know, quote unquote spot chads were actually levered to the gills, or really just like thought they could get away with leverage with basically no risk parameters, because I think that played a role too. You know, people, a lot of new coins launching, you want exposure, and you're taking these levered positions because it's a more efficient use of your capital. You'd never even fathom that an altcoin would drop 50 or 60% in such a short period of time, right? So you don't even bother putting a stop loss on. It's kind of like, well, I mean, a lot of delta neutral farming that kind of plays on the lack of volatility, or just like the fact that an event like that could never occur. I mean, they just get completely destroyed. They just get completely destroyed. But Hyperliquid made money. I saw that. The HLP. I'm impressed by that. Even if people got ADL'd, which I think is, people are making a much bigger deal about that, in my opinion, than they should.
To answer this question, it's likely to do that due to leverage exposure. If you guys noticed, a lot of tokens that aren't widely traded on leverage across the entire market, across tons of exchanges, did not drop as hard as a lot of tokens that do have exposure to leverage, because it was a massive liquidity flush and leverage flush. So tokens that were exposed to leverage or were widely traded on leverage across exchanges got hit harder. So that's why you saw something like a Pepe in that split instant wick down way farther and way harder than something like an Andy and Wolf did. So that's why that happened. And yeah, having a lot of on-chain exposure, although on-chain took a crap, right? It was kind of taking a crap leading up into this kind of event, was kind of safer in a way where it didn't get those dramatic drops. Like some tokens hit zero, you know, like none of that happened on-chain. Sure, it took a dump, took a crap, but honestly, some people were safer to being on-chain tickers, you know, and I think this event is only going to drive people more and more on-chain and away from the centralized exchanges and away from leverage, I think. So,
and by the way, and I'm gonna make a video on this later. So like I have a video that I'm making today. People are talking about what happened with, you know, Pepe. This was not real. This was a centralized exchange issue. Price was down here for a matter of minutes, and people couldn't even trade to act on it. If you look at the on-chain chart, this is what the Pepe on-chain chart looks like. Okay. It dropped to range low.
Yeah.
Right. So let me pull up the Binance chart, of course. Let me pull up the Binance chart below it, and you will see the difference in what happened. so annoyed I have to do this every time I want to put it in log mode. I just do not understand it. Okay. So do you see the stark difference between these two charts here? This is the Pepe on-chain chart up top, and this is the Pepe Binance chart. So let's look at where that wick went. 0.000279. Okay. It was this level right here. So the difference between Pepe on-chain and where Pepe went on Binance was 50% difference. So what do I make of that? Just whatever. I just, that's just crypto. That's just what happens, I'm not so sure, I'm not so sure.
I've read some
BNB
things
rallying
that-
to all-time highs, it just Aster, the whole thing, man. I really am very suspicious of this because that on the Binance chart is not even a real price. Okay. It was down there for minutes. You couldn't even trade during that time.
couldn't buy.
Couldn't do anything but sit there and get liquidated is what you could
Guys,
do. So I'm just saying there should not be. I've seen these divergences before. I've seen, 10% differences between spot charts and perps charts. We've all seen it. But 50% in the manner that it did happen, I don't buy it. I think this was the single greatest criminal event that we've maybe ever seen in crypto.
yes, 100%.
And by the
There's no
way,
doubt.
I'm speaking as a guy who was not affected by this. I
Yeah.
didn't get liquidated. I had shorts open. I'm all spot and I've got some shorts to, buffer me a little bit. So I'm not speaking from the perspective of somebody that lost money or got hurt by this. I'm speaking about this from the perspective of somebody who literally cannot make sense of what I just saw on Friday. So just saying, something is wrong here. Something is very, very wrong. And now there's suddenly an 8-figure airdrop getting, thrown around to people, certain wallets in the ecosystem. Okay. We'll see.
I just think we're having a bit of a liquidity crunch occur in markets. I really don't think it had anything to do with the tariff news that dropped on Friday. Sure, that could have been a catalyst, but or like what really began the move. But kind of talked about this, I think, on Market Check last week. We saw divergences between some private equity stocks and junk bonds against the S&P. So, maybe we didn't have like a credit event per se, but clearly there were some issues in market liquidity under the hood that preceded the move that we saw, I think, on Friday. And I do think that's worth keeping an eye on.
Wait, what's on Friday?
What was on Friday was the largest criminal event that we've ever seen.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was like, I've never seen anything like that in my 8 years. I've seen close, like coming, and this is what I told Discord. Like, and I think all of us were here during COVID, right? Like, we've all been around that long. But it's like I was a person that was buying during COVID. Like during that COVID drop, Bitcoin down to like 4K. I've never seen something like that. Like all coins just dropping to zero, like in a matter of minutes. I was like, holy crap. My wife's like, what's going on? I'm like, just the biggest wipeout in the crypto market I've ever seen in my life. She's like, okay, well, let's hang out with family. I'm like, okay.
I don't even feel anything anymore.
Yeah, honestly, because to be honest, like, I mean, I a couple leverage positions here and there, but like, I'm like, you have to set your portfolios up for success and the long term. You got to be the cockroach. Sometimes that means you're not going to get the most exponential gains or get all the juice from the squeeze. You know what I mean? And sometimes you're more like a turtle. You're slowly growing over time, but you kind of just have to set yourself up to survive in these markets. And something like we saw where people just got completely wiped, like I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like I'm good, especially after the Sunday recovery. Like it's just like you just kind of got to be the cockroach, survive. And then after seeing something like this, and I think Max is right, we kind of got to wait and see, right? Because either A, this is the beginning of a bear market, right? That was just like the first kind of tremor, right? I mean, obviously, I don't think that's going to happen again, but either that was kind of like the sledgehammer, and then we're just going to slowly bleed out from here, or that was like a giant cleanse, reset of the market, taking out players that have been in this space for years, kind of a transfer of wealth reset. Like Tommy was saying in the Discord, we're still probably waiting to see who's floating up from the water here, like who got taken out, who's bankrupt, and then we kind of changing of the guards, new players step in, and then we kind of send from here. And it's really hard to tell, right? Yesterday, we kind of make sense to see a squeeze of some sort, seeing the equity market strong. That's a plus, I'm leaning towards that. That was just a massive reset, massive attack on the space before crypto goes bananas, right? And I wanted to reset and flush everything before then. But time will tell. I think the next week or two we'll know more so whether that was a reset before expansion or that was, the beginnings of what's going to be a long bear markets. And I think the next couple of weeks will tell us that.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just drawing out some things. You can interpret them however you want, but allow me to narrate them for you. So I just wanted to point some things out, guys. So this is I'm going to use Pepe as an example because it's a large centralized exchange meme coin at this point. Okay. So what did we notice on this date over here, July 15th, BNB against total diverges. Everything is sitting there and BNB is ripping face. Everything starts trading like shit, right? Pepe, every altcoin starts just kind of chopping around, right? And then over here, Aster begins trading on Binance. It actually launched on chain a little bit before that, right? So it was probably somewhere over here. Okay. So is it a coincidence that BNB total is ripping aggressively? Everything starts trading like shit. Aster launches, close ties to BNB, to Binance. They get accused of doing manufactured volume. They're doing everything they can to push it as hard as possible. And then suddenly, we get a 50% divergence in the on-chain charts versus the Binance charts on the single biggest flush that we've ever seen in crypto. Is it a coincidence? I'm just pointing things out. I mean, maybe I'm just paranoid. Again, I'm speaking about this as somebody that literally was not affected by this whatsoever. Literally none. And I'm like, seems like a weird coincidence to me, Seems like a really weird coincidence to me. But I could be totally wrong. Somebody set me straight. Is it a coincidence that BNB total was ripping for the past, 2 months? Then Aster launches. Everybody and their grandma's talking about it. DeFi Llama stops tracking volume for Aster because they're like, we can't even confirm if it's real or something like that. And then suddenly we see all these tickers collapse like 95% in a matter of minutes. A matter of minutes. I will say this, my reasoning is not meant to point the finger at any individual. I'm just like, something is off here. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but something smells fishy to me. And that's not my business, is not like investigating these things. That's not what I do, but I'm like, something is wrong here. Okay? Something is wrong here. I'll leave it at that. We'll talk more about it later, but it looks like a dog and it barks like a dog. It's probably a dog, If it looks like crime, smells like crime, it's not a coincidence. It probably is. No, I don't think it's one person's fault. I think it was a mixture of things: market vulnerability, over leverage, greed, lack of like actual spot holdings, people considering perps to be their portfolio. But I also don't think somebody didn't know that and have access to a lot of information and a lot of capital and did everything they could to create a coordinated event. So
Just shows
just saying,
you how
remember, this is the same guy that literally took Sam behind the barn and literally shot him in the back of the head. Like, let's not all pretend like that didn't happen, you know? Sam had to go one way or another. This guy's not your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is the biggest shark of them all. Don't be fooled for 1 second. Do not be fooled for 1 second.
100%.
He's a shark, man. He's a predator. Respect to him. He's great at what he does, but like, let's not pretend like, oh, he's just like, you know, some like nerdy exchange founder, no big deal, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's just he's good at coding and like he's a good CEO and you know, like he'd never do anything like that, you know, like he's great, you know, he's just a humble crypto guy and you know, great. Dude, are you kidding me?
He got worse when he came out of jail.
Dude, he's a monster.
He went to jail and came out worse.
He's a monster. Like, do you think it's none of this shit's a coincidence, man? People just like they become so conditioned to just like accept the scam, you know, and just like accept this kind of stuff because it's crypto. And it's like, yeah, someone preyed on this, you know, somebody created this, you know.
Well, yeah, there had to be multiple people involved too.
Yeah,
multiple whale shorts. But I read a couple articles, a couple write-ups on it. People trying to figure out.
And I'm not blowing the lid off of anything because I don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't know.
All I'm pointing out is that there's some very, very specific things that have occurred leading up to what I think is the largest scam that I've ever seen in the altcoin market ever. And I'm speaking about it as somebody who was not affected by it. I was one of the few who was insulated from it. So that's all I'm saying is like, I'm narrating, oh, this happened 60 days before. This happened 30 days before. Look at the conditions that were present right before this happened. Now look at what's happening after. Free money. You know, I don't know. It just something is if this was any other industry and something like this happened, you know, this amount of people got hurt, you know. That much money was, you know, lost, scammed, you know. There were wallets that were, you know, positioned 30 minutes before something like this, you know.
Yeah.
What good intuition, you know? And I'm like, it's just, I mean, there would be 6 to 12 months of congressional hearings if this was any other industry, you know. Just saying.
I think this is going to be.
I'm not blowing the lid off anything because I genuinely do not know. All I'm doing is saying I have noticed a few very strange things that I have never seen before. And I watch this market every hour of every single day, and I have for half a decade. And I'm speaking about it as somebody who literally was not negatively impacted by this event. So you know that there's no bias. I've got no reason to have any qualms with anybody about it. I'm just pointing out certain conditions that don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I feel like crypto market making is very much prisoner's dilemma, kind of exemplified, right? It's like everybody cooperates to the degree that they can all continue to profit, but they're like kind of working together, but also not necessarily working together because when push comes to shove, as Friday will show us or showed us, somebody is eventually going to stray from that pack, from that cabal, and it's going to be at the detriment to everybody else that's kind of trapped in that same prisoner's dilemma. So I don't know who, if anybody stabbed anybody else in the back, but clearly, whether it was the risk engines on Binance or, maybe something more sinister, it's pretty clear where the source of the, lack of liquidity came from, in my opinion. Not to say that I think anything is like intentionally malicious or anything like that, but it's pretty clear that Binance's risk engines failed kind of more than any other exchange. And a lot of that, I think, had to do as well with Athena and USDE, which I've been talking about for a while. Everybody raves about the product. I actually think it's very problematic for risk within crypto, because you just kind of incentivize taking more and more risk, as if this algorithmic stablecoin is going to always be pegged to $1, and it depegged by 35%, guys. So it's clearly anything but stable. And you can say that, okay, sure, maybe that was just a leverage issue on Binance itself, but that doesn't make the problem go away. People are still collateralizing billions of dollars worth of assets with an asset that is not stable. The only reason that DeFi didn't get affected more deeply is because it's hard coded to 1, which I think has its own problems, but clearly was good over the weekend that we know of, right? That we know of, assuming that Athena is still over collateralized, like they say.
I mean, what's not stable about this stable coin here? I don't see the issue. Very healthy. Yeah, incredibly healthy. I don't know. The whole thing kind of makes me feel like there was a certain DEX that just launched, and there's a very prominent DEX called Hyperliquid, which has stolen a lot of business from certain people. And it kind of seems like, wow, they just really launched like a month ago, even less. And maybe then the largest liquidation cascade for altcoins that we've ever seen happened, maybe in an attempt to take out Hyperliquid by somebody. I don't know who it could be, to basically cause people to move over to this new DEX that just launched. So I don't know, just thinking a lot of thoughts is all, guys. I'm just thinking.
I think that's part of it. I think it's bigger than that, but I think it's definitely part of it.
Yeah, but
sure.
The thing is, Hyperliquid actually did very, very well during that dump, which was maybe to the surprise of certain individuals.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Thinking thoughts. That's all.
What I find interesting is the BNB on chain, BSC chain, kind of foreshadowed what was going to happen to the entire market a couple of days before. Right, we saw the entire BSC chain pretty much crash. Everything on the chain crashed 80-90% in unison, and I was like, wow, like that's pretty crazy. That looked coordinated. That looked fishy. And no one thought, okay, a couple of days later, it's going to happen to the entire market. Because, like, who thought that was possible, right? Like, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we understand, like, okay, it's not the most sound asset class. It's still a growing asset class. There's a lot of crimes, a lot of house of cards kind of layers scattered throughout the market. But, like, I didn't think we'd see something like that, right? But I thought it was interesting how the BSC chain literally did exactly what the entire crypto market did just a couple of days before. I think that's very interesting as well.
That is interesting.
You know what else communicated it the morning of? This is crime, though, 100%. Is World Liberty Fi. Dumped like 30%.
The ticker?
Yeah, the morning of, it dumped like 30%.
Huh, I wonder who knew something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
okay, so let me look at this closely here. So here's World Liberty Fi. So you're telling me this was dumping before, let's just look at Pepe again, right? Because we just spent a lot of time looking at it. So you're telling me that World Liberty Fi dumped before. Oh, wow, it really did. Look at that. So World Liberty Fi, what a coincidence, dropped right here. That's not the right thing. So World Liberty Fi dropped 33%. And then later that day, then we saw the scams, and it obviously had another big dump. Tommy, what do you make of that, man? I mean, a token that's so connected to people of influence. What do you make of it dumping before the dump? And then a particular announcement about tariff escalation happens on a Friday after the New York session is closed. So there's no stock market insulation or buffer for crypto pain, which we've seen nothing but more of that all cycle. What do you make of that, Tommy? What do you make of that? That has to be a coincidence, right? No foul play.
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, big trouble.
Guys, this is another perfect instance of there is never a fucking coincidence.
Yeah.
There's just not, again, I speak about this from the perspective of somebody that is completely unaffected by the events that just happened. Spot bags down a little bit. I've been through much worse.
Yeah.
I've had insulation. I was short. I had hedges on. My spot bags are down a little bit. Not even so bad.
What do we make of Zora coin kind of pumping through all of this? I think that's interesting as well.
Well, let's take a look at it, I guess.
Honestly,
right?
sizing into Zora over the last couple of weeks is something that really did lighten the blow for me for this during this event. You know, this first of all, Zora ripped like 150% into the day this happened, so that's interesting, right? I guess it kind of flash crashed a little bit, but now it's kind of back to where it was before this all happened. So I think Zora pumping 150% in 2 days into this event is also interesting.
I mean, the chart looks really good besides the, like that scam wick, obviously. But like if you just remove that, it looks really strong. I don't really know anything about it, but
I've been talking about this on the show too and the Discord. We're talking about Zora a lot. So if you got into Zora, that was a little cushion for the last 72 hours. But yeah, I think that's interesting as well. Like pumping 150%. I mean, they got Robinhood news, so maybe that could just be completely separate, you know. But yeah, 150% pump in 2 days, and kind of climbing back. Hopefully, we keep going and don't. This isn't a complacent shoulder here, but yeah. Very interesting.
Well, this doesn't really look like a shoulder. Like to me, the shoulder comes after like a pump, right? So I mean, like this is a shoulder.
I mean, like the smaller, like the lower time frame. Like,
oh, are you talking about like something along these lines occurring? Like that's pump, shoulder, and then like breakdown of some sort right here. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know how this trades, but it'll probably just be dependent on Bitcoin and ETH, right?
Yeah.
I would assume just continuing to move higher.
But yeah, I think this whole event is going to push people on chain, away from leverage, away from centralized exchanges. And there's a couple people that benefit from that, right? So, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all, right? I think on chain's the way to go, right? You're not paying those centralized exchange fees. Keeps you away from leverage. Guys, this is crypto. This is the most volatile asset class in the world. You do not need leverage, right? Every now and again as a tool, sure, right? I use leverage every now and again, but it's a tool. It's not your portfolio, and most people, especially if you're not doing this full time, you're there's plenty of money to be made in spot holdings, and people were greedy, right? And just levering up as much as they can. And sadly, the worst case scenario happened, right? So, yeah, I think this is going to continue to drive people on chain. And we're starting to see that narrative, right? Like with all these dexes popping up, right? With Coinbase listing, onboarding all of their app users onto their base chain, right? Binance, Aster, right? Hyperliquid. I think this is where this is where the space is headed. And maybe this was the nail in the coffin needed to kind of push it over the edge.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chef, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I just kind of been dealing with so many DMs from the people, asking for the guidance, telling me how, stories that I've heard before. So I'm trying to help as many people as I can, either mentally or realistically with, what to do. But yeah, I wasn't really much affected. In fact, I got some pretty nice buys myself, or the prices are where they were pretty much on Friday before the drop. So I feel comfy. I feel comfy with how BTC and ETH are looking. And going into Q4 and 26, nothing's changed for me. One thing that you guys spoken about, like regarding, that this is a volatile asset and you don't need leverage, right? Which is, by the way, true, I would say. But I think that, I think this cycle is an entirely new paradigm. People always keep asking me, like, is this more like 2021 cycle? Is this more like 2017? Well, I would definitely say it's more like 2017, but I say this is a new paradigm cycle. Like, this cycle will set a precedence for all the future ones. It's getting built, and you need to, the game's changed. It's not going to be like in the past, right? Like, people are clearly not going to be bidding like just garbage, right? So we saw that stocks had better performance, better volatility, right, than crypto. But people were buying crypto because it offered them bigger outperformance than stocks had in the past, right? Now, what they tried to do was bid crypto with leverage. It clearly didn't work. I think the only way from here, and I said this before, is once again go into the digital asset sort of narrative in which you need to start bidding. The market will be bidding only stuff that makes sense and has a longer term value in it, right? It's probably not going to be that much stuff, but I do believe there is some. And that's the way. Otherwise, why would you bid like all of this garbage when you can simply just go and buy stocks that still do, hundreds of percent a year, right? You even have meme stocks nowadays. So I think that's the direction. I still feel very confident when it comes to Bitcoin and ETH and their direction and few others. But yeah, gotta be picky. And
Yeah, I totally. I mean, look at bags. Like, look at Tao, right? That's
listen. I get it, guys. Like, there's lots of people who got hurt, right? And so, like, the logic goes out of the window. And so they'll make lots of salty comments. I get it. I'm here for you as well. If you need, reach me out. But yeah, no one's dreaming for 2026. I'm just speaking the facts as I've always have regarding what I see in the market so far that's been playing out. But I could be wrong, and you need to do your own due diligence. That's always the case.
Yeah.
And unlike Jackus, I'm actually not here for you. So you can send Jackus all your DMs because I've gotten so many already. I can't deal with it. I'm no longer here for you. It is unfortunate. I wish I could be, but I'm officially no longer here for you. And it is what it is. It is a tragedy. But it's like I just can't deal with the babysitting. Like I try to. I try to narrate what's going on. It's like, dude, I'm not like, am I gonna be okay? I'm like, dude, I don't know you. I don't know if you're gonna be okay. Like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm tough. Like, I don't know if you're gonna be okay. You might not be okay. Like, I don't know what you're doing, what you're holding. Like, I mean, the fact that something like this, even happens, it's kind of like, dude, I don't know. Like, probably recover, or maybe it'll sweep the wick. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
We're in unprecedented waters here. Like, nothing like this has ever happened. We've seen things similar, but never to this extent, right? So it's kind of, again, like I told the Discord, we just got to wait and see. Sit on your hands, right? Especially if you're in spot, just kind of wait this out, right? At least let this week go by. And we're gonna know probably within the next couple of weeks whether this was a reset, like a flush before expansion, or this was the start of.
See, guys. Sorry, Louis. See, guys. I'm the one hurt, so this is what it is. Nonetheless, Arek Ether, I wish you the best, and I see there is lots of pain within you. So I wish you the best, man. It's gonna get better.
Areg Jeter, I am so sorry. I mean, sorry, Areg Ether. I am so sorry for how you're feeling, man. It's just, I'm so sorry. You know, the best thing to do is, you know, I would blame Jackus, you know, because, you know, that's just naturally the best thing to do, you know, as a grown man, is to point the finger, you know, at another grown man. That's the best thing to do, man. Whatever.
I
Anyways,
never
what do you,
understood. Sorry, go
it
ahead.
doesn't matter, man. People need
Like you can feel the guy is hurt. He's trying
Yeah.
to blame anyone around him. Again, as I said, you know, with this type of mentality, going into discussion, there is no logic. So I feel you and I forgive you. It's okay.
Our boy Brad has a question, and I think Max, you kind of touched on this before, because not every chart has these wicks, right?
Right. Well, let me answer it this way for you. Maybe. Maybe. So here's the thing. I think you need to be aware of the potential for a wick fill, right? Like if we're looking at the chart here, I don't even love this one. I mean, you've already had a partial fill, right, on the ETH wick. Like I think you need to be aware of whatever this mess is. You know, I don't even think it's consistent across every exchange. Yeah, that was just Binance again. Weird. But I think you need to be aware of these wicks, right? I think we already backfilled a decent bit of it, which is good. But there have been some instances where we have seen the wicks fill and some where we have not seen them fill. So, like, for example, this was one where, you know, the wick did not fill. We certainly spent some more time, you know, and this was one where there were also similar structural divergences. I'm sure everyone on the panel here remembers the weeks of debating whether this wick was going to get filled or not right here. You know, this August 23 drop. But yeah, this one didn't get filled, right? And this was not even the same kind of dump. Like this was much more tame. Yes, this is Ethereum, but like there wasn't some like contagion or crime. This was just a leverage rinse out. It was much more obvious that this was just a, you know, a shitty day, but this one didn't get filled. You know, we had this happen where we like flushed, then, you know, completely reversed it, barred back down, but didn't take out the wick, right? So there's a few instances I can point to where like, you know, we have very much so like left the wicks mostly filled, but not completely. Some more aggressive than others. But I think also, you know, maybe we even go back to last cycle and we look at some of the flushes during like major bull. Look at it, you know, through this lens. I don't know why it's not loading. Oh, is this the Bybit chart? Is this? No, it's got to have more history than that, right? Okay, let's switch exchanges again.
Sorry, Max. There is Manish asking. My parents are asking me about my Dogecoins. What shall I tell them? Well, tell them this. that's the. Sorry to lighten it up slightly. Go on.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is
Or this.
Yeah, good answer. I think that maybe ETH and Bitcoin wicks can get maybe backfilled a bit. I don't think they have to get fully filled. Like, again, we've seen in the past where they get 50, 75% filled. These wicks on altcoins, I don't think so, right? Like, what was the one that went to zero? Was that AVAX or something? Adam? Yeah, Adam went to zero. I don't think Adam has to go all the way back to zero to fill the wick. You know?
It'd be better if it did, but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Adam just should go to zero in general. So
yeah, it kind of did. So
maybe it does need to go
look
back.
Look at the chart. I mean, look at the chart. That's just that thing was dying, right?
And again, Louis, so
was,
here's the thing, Louis. I want you to be careful saying that there was any malpractice here because this is organic trading. This was not an Oracle glitch. This was not a market maker getting carted out. This was not manipulated or scammed or crime in any way. So just before you speak on this, Louis, I want you to speak on how ethically sound this industry is, and specifically how ethically sound certain individuals that hold a majority of the wealth in this industry truly are. But please continue. With that being said.
Honestly, Max, I'm surprised how much this market was held up by leverage. I didn't think it was as bad as it was, and I'm being honest. I knew it was bad. I didn't think it was this bad, and this kind of this last 72 hours exposed that. Where it was all paper holdings, But yeah, this looks like a chart that was strictly being held up by leverage longs, and no one was left to buy the back. So I don't know what happens to Adam, and I'm sorry if you were holding Adam. That's at least it bounced.
Here's the thing. Let's look at a few charts here. Okay, let's look at a few charts here. So this was Adam on Coinbase. Okay,
if you were holding Adam already, man,
yeah,
I don't really know what to say.
That chart.
My coins are with great companies. They will bounce back.
I mean, let's really take a look at it though, to figure out what actually happened here. So here's Adam on Coinbase is the top chart. So this is Coinbase. So Adam on Coinbase went down to 287. Okay. And this one is Bybit. Okay. So on Bybit, it went down to 155. And this here is Binance. And on Binance, it went to 0. Okay. So I just wanted to point this out again. It maybe relates back to something I was saying earlier. Clearly, nothing went wrong here. Clearly, BNB's relative outperformance the past 60 days has nothing to do with anything that may have happened on the exchange. Clearly, Aster had nothing to do with this. Clearly, it was just a coincidence. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say is it was just a big coincidence, That's it.
EOS, which rebranded to A, it's like ticker A. So it's an old EOS ticker. By the way, be careful on that. It just traded down below its 2017 lows on the USD pair. Even on the USD pair, like it's still direct on Bitcoin pair, but it's crazy.
I agree with this point. I also think that's why it's too early to say that there is no stress under the crypto hood right now. I mean, the car, not like the proverbial hood. No, I mean, right. I mean, there's clearly either we had a one-off liquidity issue that was so bad that we had things wick down 90%, or there's some potentially lasting damage that's going to remain. And I think the main reason I bring that up, right, is because people were talking about Wintermute over the weekend, right? Like Wintermute blew up, and it doesn't seem like they blew up, for the record. So I don't want to parrot that. It actually seems like they're probably going to be one of the entities least likely to get hit by something like this. But who do you think provides the bid side liquidity at the end of the day for a lot of these altcoins and for ultimately Bitcoin and ETH to a large degree when they need it? And it's a lot of these native market makers. So for me, I would like to know how bad the damage actually was from Friday. Maybe it existed before Friday. Probably did to some extent. Maybe they didn't even know that it was an issue, but Friday was really like a shit hit the fan type of moment. Are big players in our industry currently swimming naked? And if so, how many? And I don't think that that's a question we have answered yet. So I would really like to have that question answered as somebody looking to invest in crypto over a long-term period. I think it's paramount, actually, that we get some transparency as far as, who got hit the hardest.
You did, like people. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that after this weekend were like, what the fuck am I investing in? Like, wait, like what have I really been investing in for the last couple of years? And I think that's going to lead to a flight to quality and a flight to, I guess, quote unquote quality, and a flight to more on-chain decentralization away from the leverage markets, and that might take a while. It might take a while, or it might just price going up. They really ramp price back up so hard that people forget about it in a month or two, right? One or the other.
Well, the thing is that most market participants are so like they are either gone or they have so little money left that even if the market were to pump thousands of %, they wouldn't make much, right? Like, so there's definitely like a good reasoning for that.
Yeah, the people with the I wouldn't say the largest amount of money and the littlest amount of money, but that chunk in the middle, those 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure traders that have made it over the last several years, a lot of that subset got taken out. You know what I mean? It's like those guys that were, made a couple million under their belt, were just sitting in low leverage positions, kind of riding this cycle out, thinking they were safe. And listen, I'm speaking this like I understand if that was you, like I feel horrible. Like, I never expected this. I mean, no one could expect this, but there is risks of kind of doing things that way. And I feel for you if that's you, man. Like this sucks. Not to be, just speak lightly on the situation. But that kind of subset, the people that would have made massive fortunes, if we do get this kind of next maturization of the asset class and expansion, and would have made fortunes, kind of got wiped, right? So I think it's like that subset of people, a lot of them got wiped out. Here it wasn't the people with a small amount of money that held some spot on exchange. It wasn't the massive whales. They were obviously in on it. Maybe some of them. It's more or less those people in the middle that would have made generational wealth in the next couple of years. If we still get what I still think we're going to get it, right? Just a matter of how long it's going to take. That subset of people got completely wiped, right? So the number of people that are going to experience that wealth effect from this completely leveled the playing field and took them out, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
This is a good question, and let me tell you, the answer is greed. Because doesn't matter how much you have, you'll always look around yourself and see someone else is making more, and you wanna make that too. And so lots of people fall victim to this. Some people get like, it takes years and years to build that resilience of being able to look around yourself every single day and say, I'm okay with this someone new making more money than I do today and this year, because I know most of the times these guys get wrecked sooner or later, even if that later is like 4 years, and you'll essentially keep beating the market unless you fall victim to it once again. And so this must be a life lesson, right? You just are happy with what you make if you beat the market, and you don't compare yourself with someone else that's currently doing the best.
Comparison is the ultimate thief of joy, without question.
Well, if you perhaps read today's newsletter or been in the VC pre-market call, then I touched upon all of these topics exactly.
Yeah, you really, and it's hard. It's extremely hard, especially on X and Twitter, seeing all these people flexing all their money. And a lot of the time it's like, I could, because sometimes I say these things to myself, and I'm very good at kind of just staying in my own lane, being grateful for what I have. Like I haven't made it yet. I still have my goals I want to achieve, and I've been here a long time, but I've also survived every single event that like this has occurred, right? So be the turtle, right? Just kind of stay in your own lane.
No, Louis, be the cockroach.
Yeah,
Be the turtle and the cockroach.
Be the cockroach, man.
Just don't mind that you're at your own pace, doing your own thing, not worry about everyone else. Eventually you'll get there. And those people that you're scratching your head looking at, be like, how the hell, I'm doing all the right things, right? And I'm been putting my work in, I'm doing all the right things. How the hell is that person exponentially beating me? Well, guess what? A lot of those people are now wiped, right? So eventually the market has a paddle for everybody, right? If you don't paddle or humble yourself in a way. And
The
that
way
was
you were
this is one of those
speaking of
times.
Louis, like it made me think of that meme where it's like, "Give me tougher battles." How are you still alive?
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
You're
wait,
still
wait.
alive?
Do you
Jack is
mean this one?
Yeah. Give me harder battles. Just one more week, Wilson. Yeah, that's real.
no, you need the one with Jesus. He's like, what the fuck?
Give me tougher battles. What?
Are you still alive?
You're still alive?
What the fuck?
Look, remember this? 2 more weeks to curb their
Oh
spread,
my
man.
god.
Dude, people forgot about that crime too, man. No one talks about it anymore. Like that was some crime. There's so much crime, man.
That's like the only comparable thing we have to what we've just witnessed, I guess. And like I mentioned this in the Discord, like, yeah, Bitcoin had a V-shaped recovery off of that move, but it also took like a month, you know. So that's why I think right now, wait and see, let the dust settle, right? Let the bodies wash up, like Tommy's been saying. Let the bodies wash ashore. I think you have time to build, restructure, if and when this was a flush before expansion. I do, unless they really just turbocharge the thing, right, and just leave everybody behind. But we'll know that too quite soon. So, I think it's a wait and see. If you pretty much put it this way, if you held spot, you held the right spot, which is a combination of high caps, mid caps, low caps, did nothing over the last 72 hours, you outperformed 90% of the market, and you outsurvived and outperformed, right? So doing nothing and sitting on your hands, although simple, is effective, right? Just kind of letting the dust settle, right? Because I bet there's people that weren't leveraged and they still panic sold on what they saw over the weekend, and everything is now up 20, 30, 40% higher from where they sold as well, right? In all of my years of doing this, I've never once panic sold into a flush event like this, because 90% of the times you either get a bounce, whether it's a bearish retest, or you get some relief before rolling over, or you just V-shape recover out of it. So that's very important, right? If you just held spot and you did nothing, you're really not that far off from where we were on Thursday. You're really not.
Louis, you got to try panic selling a dump sometime, man. It's liberating. Like you just
good.
freak out, like just completely turn your brain off and just freak out, and then just get on the timeline and just start fudding everyone else's bags. You got to try it sometime. Yeah, you haven't lived until you've tried to do that, man. But that's okay. You'll get there one day. You're still trying to be like a sound investor and make money and better your own life. And it's
I
like,
try.
yeah, you'll throw in the towel like the rest of them, and then you just become a FUD account. It's great. It's great. Yeah,
look at
every, every pump is an opportunity to call the cycle top.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm laughing. It's true.
Like something like a Link is almost at the same price it was Thursday. XRP not too far off.
I mean, bro, look at ETH BTC. This is gonna be the revealing chart, man. Like I'm telling you right now, when this trend line breaks on ETH BTC, or when we visit this trend line, this is just like a 4-hour diagonal, right? And I've got a 4-hour set of EMA cloud right here. Like you're gonna it's gonna be so obvious. Like we're gonna pop up here, and it's like we're either gonna get stuffed here and do this, and then like come back down into here, and we'll have to wait and see, or it's literally just gonna like V out of this thing, and like everything's going back to new highs. But this is gonna be that chart right here. Like this is gonna be the one that tells you it's just ETH BTC. And by the way, Tommy, kudos to you, because you were saying I don't like how ETH BTC looks when it was right up here like a week ago. You're like, I just don't know if I'm convinced yet. And then boom.
How does a cycle top fit in this chart?
Oh, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's like it's I think it's omnipresent, like it is. The cycle top is everywhere. It's on every high, every low. The cycle top it's within all of us,
Everywhere I go, I see his face.
Yeah.
Ay. What a series of events.
Yeah, you're
Never a
not
dull
entered.
moment.
I don't know what you're referring to, Louis. Everything's totally normal. I don't.
For me, the good
Just
and bad
another
news.
day.
The good and bad news are from Friday are the same, in that I expected majors to dump a lot lower to see that kind of cascade.
Bad lucks.
It's good and bad news, right? So I mean, I think if you see majors sweep the low again, like you can't do that. You can't be doing that.
I mean,
we can't be doing that, man.
no,
I don't
we
think
can't. We,
lows if you want to be bullish. It's just they're not compatible ideas, in my opinion.
I mean, XRP dropped 50%. Link dropped 70%.
Dude, look at XRP on Binance.
These are top 5, top 10, coins. This is not like a, something out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, look at it. Look at this. Like, yeah. You know what this reminds me of? And I was thinking about this, and I haven't looked at it myself. Can you pull up an XRP chart? Probably the Binance chart. And go to 2017. And I want to see if this chart has it. Before XRP's historic run in 2017.
Looks like it got listed on Binance in 2018, Louis.
Okay, that's probably the top. I topped it. Okay.
It topped it. That's such a coincidence. Let's go to another exchange. You want to go to Coinbase or something?
No, it wasn't on Coinbase then either. Maybe the crypto chart. No, it's not on the crypto chart. What chart is it on? Oh, wait, no, it is on the crypto chart. It is on the crypto chart. Yeah, go to April of 2017, I think. If this is the right one, or it might be more prominent on another.
Are you talking about this one?
Yep. It literally went to zero.
This was January 2017. It literally.
Yep. It went to zero.
A lot of altcoins just did that.
Yeah, it went to zero.
So
60,000%.
There is still a chance?
Yeah.
Or
no, Jack, because it means the cycle top is in.
But like this, being a long time XRP holder, this is something I've always looked at in the chart. I'm like, because I wasn't around then in 2017. I came in 2018, both the top up to XRP, of course. But I always looked at this example and I was like, wait, like before this thing ripped 60,000%, it literally wicked to zero. So anyone that was in leverage or trying to, even if I don't even know if there was leverage at this point, I don't know. Maybe like someone got their their bids filled, whatever. But this thing wicked to zero and then went on a 60,000% ripper a month later, So I don't know. Did we just see that like across the board? I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to say, but it did remind me of that.
I would be euphoric. I would be euphoric.
That's a good question, right?
I don't know.
Let me take it further. Do you think that in 10 years, people will look back and look at the charts and be like, what the fuck happened back then?
Yep.
They would be like, something terrible had to happen, like nuke, over Europe or US or China, yeah, perhaps US like nuked the main capital city of China. Something like that happened back then, right? And then it would be like, oh, Trump tweeted something. Oh, I see. Things went to zero. Trump tweeted something. All right.
I mean, bro, like that didn't even this is Bitcoin down below. Bitcoin didn't even do anything when that happened. Like it was in a little corrective phase, maybe, but
can you put in Bitstamp down below?
Put in what?
XRP USD on Bitstamp.
Is that chart even worse?
No, I wanna see if we got that candle.
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think that's the chart, right?
It was real. I don't know what happened though.
No, it was real. Someone got massive bids filled.
Yeah, clearly.
The strategy going forward, guys, right, over the next 3 years is just leave bids at 0.001 and That's it. Don't do anything. Just wait for them to get filled.
It works.
Just leave bids at 0 just in case.
But then you'll see that your order got front run, or like you had
They
a
won't fill you. They won't fill
you had a 5K order and $1 get filled.
Like,
But you can
honestly,
brag.
Jack, when you said
You
you
can
got
brag
filled,
on-
I was surprised that you got filled on some of those orders because of how quick the move happened.
Yeah.
Jack has bought
but
Adam at 0.
I didn't have them that deep, honestly.
That's probably why.
Oh, so you got filled like halfway down the cascade?
Well, I didn't get filled at like 0. Like, who would place bids down there?
Well,
Instant
clearly, you must be new to
280x.
investing. You must be new because I always put my bids at 0. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even get filled down there, right? Like the fact that it trades almost to 0 is just a function that there are literally no buyers relative to the amount of sellers.
This is, by the way, what would have happened during COVID on Bitcoin. You guys probably don't remember as much, but BitMEX was the main exchange with the most volume back then. And there was only, I don't remember the exact number, but I think only like 500K of the last liquidity. So they had to halt the trading. They did it. And that's what stopped the price from nuking. No halt this time, though.
all
Yeah,
right,
I mean, also a lot of
we...
exchanges can't even buy. But
all right,
no,
I think
I agree. It's probably time to. I think I have a bit of a lag, Max. Sorry.
You do. That's okay.
But all right, guys, that is it for today's episode of Market Check. We hope that you enjoyed the content. Hopefully you're staying safe, because I feel like there's never been a more applicable time than like right now to say that, and especially on Friday. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed Market Check today, last week, or really any other time, a reminder that we go live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with a typical start time around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can catch us during those times. Once again, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe on your way out. We also have other programming throughout the week. Check out Market Talk, which is an X Spaces hosted by King Wabi, as well as the Because Bitcoin X account. So make sure to stay following and subscribed to both of those accounts so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces, but also when we go live. We dumped on the Friday space, so make sure to watch that stream back as well. I'm sure some really fun reactions in there and just general commentary. Wabi's been doing a great job with those spaces here over the last few months. So, of course, if you are looking for some signal to potentially catch this dump, well, we have the tools for you to be able to do that, right? I mean, Max talked about catching some shorts. The Volume Fusion Pro Discord, we give signals for Pepe, Doge, and Solana. So if you're looking for automated alerts on, when the potential time to take the short was, for example, on Friday, or even, the days leading up to Friday, we have the optionality for you to be able to access those signals. All you have to do is sign up for Blowfin using our referral link, and you will be granted access to that Discord. But cycle top when Tommy gets good internet. I have good internet now, man. I have good internet.
Decent.
That's it from us, though, guys. It's been a wild last few days. I can't imagine that I mean, I almost kind of hope that it simmers down, but truthfully, who the hell knows? This has been a very volatile market, really, since like February or January even. But nevertheless, we will be here to cover it for you guys on Market Check almost every single day of the work week. But thanks again for tuning in, guys. We will see you on Wednesday. Until then, thank you again. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.